Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Thank you again for allowing me to be part of your day. I appreciate it. I know that it's a privilege because everybody's got so much to do in the day that we have very little time to commit to anything. So thank you for fitting me in your day. Guys, I've been promising this video. This is something that I feel pretty passionate about. As a lot of you know, I used to work with juveniles in a residential setting that was for addicts, for young people that had problems with addiction, alcohol, drugs, and a lot of that also had to do, obviously, with really poor behavior, poor decision making, and I worked with the kids. I saw the parents. I saw the guts and the ickiness of the facility. And I saw how kids scam. And I saw how parents scam. And we've now seen videos and have heard stories of people being yanked out of their sleep in the middle of the night.
Just after 3:30 in the morning, we're down the street from the family home. We've been texting with April and she's ready for us to come. It's a big day for Annalisa.
Wake up. I love you. We decided to get you some help.
My name is Mike and this is Laura.
Go away. Go!
So,
Go away!
your family has decided that you need help.
Go away!
I have horrible insomnia. I'm scared to go to bed at night. I always have this recurring nightmare, no matter what I do. I'm in bed, and these two people come into my room. And say, do you want this to happen the easy way or the hard way?
Imagine that. Imagine you're sleeping. You think that the world is great. You know that there's problems that you have with your parents or a parent because they've already threatened to kick you out a million times. And you push them and push them because you think that they're bluffing. And then one night you're sleeping and you start dreaming that you're hearing noises in your room and that people are calling you by your name. And you kind of feel like somebody's grabbing your ankle, grabbing your wrist. And then all of a sudden you wake up to the lights on in your room. There's people over you. There is somebody grabbing your ankle. There is somebody grabbing your wrist. They are shouting your name. They're yelling at you, get up, get up, get up. Move now, 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 now. And you're wondering what's going on. Are you being attacked? Are you being burglarized? Is it worse? Are they kidnapping you? What are they going to do with you? Are you going to live? And then as you're leaving your house, you look, and to your astonishment, your parent or parents are standing there with a bag that has your shit in it that they're giving to the people that are taking you away, that you think are there to harm you. And you realize, my parents, they weren't bluffing after all. Imagine that. What happens before you get there? So you got the kids. Kids are supposed to misbehave. They're not supposed to do things right. They don't come out knowing how to behave in spite of what Scientology thinks. Most people that come to this earth from the womb don't know what the hell they're doing until they're taught. Until things become a practice, until they're around to observe, until they see good behavior and bad behavior and get the common sense to know the difference, and then decide whatever they want. Parents often, unfortunately, don't seem to want to spend time with their children. And those that might want to spend time with their children are working 2 or 3 jobs trying to provide for their kids. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. However, children depend on you for everything they need, for that new game, for that new download, for that new iPhone, for that new iPad, for the new Samsung Galaxy flip phone, for the new phone that you jump in and it flies you around in the moon, for whatever. Kids need to feel like they earn that. A lot of times parents give in to their kids because they don't want to argue with their kids. They don't have the energy after working 48 hours, 56 hours a week. They want to go home and unwind. And then their kid gets older and older and older. And no longer can you control your kid because your kid outweighs you. Your kid towers over you. It's scary. And then you try to train your kid at that point, and your kid just looks at you like you're a joke. What are you bluffing about? What are you doing? You've been doing this forever. And then one day, all of a sudden, you have a Dr. Phil moment. You ain't bluffing no more. I always had a problem with parents that got fed up with their kid. They fucked up their kid. And a lot of parents fuck up their kids. A lot of parents are addicts themselves. A lot of kids didn't have a fair shot. A lot of kids don't know good behavior because they've never seen it. A lot of kids don't know love because it wasn't given. A lot of kids don't have that balance. A lot of them don't have the hindsight. They don't have the wisdom. And then these parents, I can't deal with my kid anymore. Fix my kid. And then we get these kids. And here's a problem. There's a problem sometimes because sometimes you get people that don't have experience with the kids.
How did you find this job?
This was back when you would still pick up a job from the paper. Sunday Classified was searching through. It was listed as a youth detention center that was looking for counselors.
What appealed to you about the job?
There wasn't a whole lot of work. I think it was paying somewhere between $8 and $11 an hour. At that time, it would have been more money than I had ever made.
And did you have any experience with children, with education?
Like absolutely none. I had no idea what I was getting into when I started that job. Not a bit of it.
Yet they're in roles that they shouldn't be in. You know, they're spending more time with the kids than the counselors spending time with the kids. They're glorified babysitters in these residential centers. And your kid might be getting 3 hours worth of therapy maybe a week, including the groups and stuff. And then they're in with other kids that might have bad behavioral issues as well.
What is behind this movement to house kids of many different backgrounds all together in the same facility?
Well, it's efficiency. If you're a director of a residential facility, you need to have your referral streams as open as possible.
We're seeing violations across many different CEQA facilities. These range from unsanitary conditions, lack of staff training, lack of supervision by staff, to over 250 complaints of child abuse. About a third of those are fully substantiated by investigators.
The approach to dealing with the kids became a lot more corporate. Say they had a kid that nobody else would take. No other facility in the United States would take this kid. Okay, we're gonna charge you $500 a day per diem and another $5,000 a month.
And the states would say yes.
Of course.
The idea is to get the kids before they get into the trouble that brings them to the places that I worked at. So it's up to the parents to say, oh, you want that? Well, this is what I expect from you so that you can get that. Because at some point in time, your kid's not going to need you for what they want or need. And then you no longer have that leverage. But while they're younger, and you would be too, you have a leverage over them because they want to go hang out with their friends, but they can't get there. They need a bike. They need to earn their bike. I'm not saying pull any of the Jody Hildebrand or Ruby Frankie bullshit. I'm just saying don't turn your back on your kids because they want to test the waters. They want to confront you. They want to figure out what they can get away with. That's their job. Your job is to establish those boundaries. Yes, but in order for you to do that, what I'm asking you to do is, can you give me a hand? I'm working really hard. Can you just give me a hand? Do the schoolwork. If you need help, I'm happy to help you. But besides that, would you mind like doing the dishes every night? Just help me with that. You know, you have to establish a relationship with your kids that's a give and take relationship. Not you come home from work and you don't want to engage with your kid, and then you want to understand, you try and understand what happened to your kid. Like Ethan Crumbly's parents that are now facing charges because their kid went and shot up a school with a bunch of kids in it. You need to engage with your child. You need to find things in common with your children. Before it gets to where they get to places where I used to be, or places even worse, like those wilderness camps. Because the thing about those places, they all work the same way. They're there to take everything away from your child. Everything. They are there to strip your child of not only their over-exaggerated sense of entitlement. They're going to rip their self-esteem from them, which they don't have a lot of anyway. They're going to break them down. And when they build them up, they're going to build them up in the image of what they see fit, not who your kid is.
So for the first 3 days, there's no showering. They put you in a circle, which is it's a teepee. It's a little teepee, but it's open. And you have to sit there for 3 days. They wouldn't let me lay down for nothing. Like, I was falling asleep and they're like, get up, get up. So I'm just sitting here like, this is gonna be really bad. This place is all about taking away privileges. Like, okay, yeah, the phone is a privilege, TV, like all that. But they take away like necessity privileges, like sleeping on a bed, eating good food, not being cold. They had no problem holding kids down, which is against the law. You're not supposed to touch the kids.
First thing she experienced there was being deprived of sleep for 3 days. That's like torture tactics that the CIA uses on terrorists to get them to confess to like murdering people, not a child who's gotten in trouble, which by the way, I think we forget that teenagers are still children. There's no psychological wellness reason. There is no therapeutic reason to deprive someone of sleep. They took away beds, good food, access to warmth, so they're just forced to freeze and be miserable. Yeah, that's going to turn them into a well-adjusted person. They all have an underlying theme, which was lack of food, water, shelter, warmth, and being abused by camp counselors, having no access to hygiene. If you had your period, good freaking luck. More kidnapping stories, not telling the child that the kidnapping is not real. One of them was 13 years old going through this, and this 13-year-old had to shower naked in front of a male supervisor. Not an isolated incident, something that happened at that camp often.
They're going to be unfair with the way they treat your kid, because the world's unfair. Can't make it too easy, even if they follow all the rules. They're going to change the rules on them, because these places, they don't have your kid's best intent at heart. You didn't have your kid's best intent at heart. You think that these places have your kid's best intent at heart? They're making money off your kid, whether it be by your insurance company or whether it be by you paying for them. A lot of these places try to make your kids sicker so that they come back, so that they never leave, so that it's over and over again. A lot of these places destroy your children. Imagine trying to sleep again after being awoken by people grabbing at you. Before they get there, the parents need to act like parents and take control of their children. I used to get pissed when my dad would said, I got to train my kids. He did. He had to train us. We weren't monkeys. We're not dogs. But we still needed to be trained on how to behave when nobody's looking. That shit's called integrity. You have to get that. Because when nobody's looking, you can't let yourself down. And if your expectations for yourself are so low, man, you don't have a chance. You have to have higher expectations. How do you get higher expectations? You want to please people. Who do you usually want to please? Your parents. But if your parents don't care, your parents aren't looking, it's all done in vain. You just start acting out. And then people give their kids to these places and say, fix my kid. I want to do a whole series on places like this. What happens after you get there? Is there a strip search? Yes. There's a drug test. There's a strip search. They decide when you eat. They decide when you go to the bathroom more times than not. And most of the time, they have you figured out before you walk through that door. So you know that saying that Demi Moore says? You can't be anybody else. If somebody sees you a specific way, you'll never be more than what they see you as. And these places aren't meant to be like that, because the place that I worked at wasn't a jail. There should be no determination. It should only be about help. It should only be about rehabilitation. It should only be about hope and the belief in people changing. But a lot of these places aren't like that. They can't be if they treat everybody the same, because certainly not everybody's the same. What do you guys think about that? Talk to me. What do you think we should do with the children today? Do you think I'm right with this, how people should act about their kids? Do you think that there are so many places that I want to, there's so many videos that I've seen that I want to talk about. Places that are still in business. You know, I think it's a Jiffy Lube or one of those other fast oil places. They owned juvenile, like they owned not-for-profit juvenile places. Did you know that? They owned not-for-profit places for juveniles, like the wilderness camps. A guy from Jiffy Lube, no lie, like the same owner. Where does he get the qualifications to own a place like that? To have a say about people's lives, children's lives. I want to do a deep dive into that. That's where I'm at, guys. What do you think? What do you guys think about this stuff? Talk to me in the chat. Please share, subscribe, enlighten. Don't forget, guys, be better today than you were yesterday. Not half as good as you're going to be tomorrow. Thanks, guys. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. This is Toddy One Skip.